We're rolling. Hello.
Sorry, the Verizon Wi-Fi has been extremely spotty.
Has it?
So, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Shout out to you, your people, for sharing the love and sharing all the things. I appreciate them.
They're great.
And
I'm actually I'm going through your other episodes and I'm like, damn, you killed this.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Production value is great. So just thank you for giving us all a platform to tell our stories and talk about our lives. And
yeah.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
Oh my gosh, thank you, girl. Because I'm over here looking like, God, what we about to do next? Because I don't even know about.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm so excited. So okay. So the one of the clips that I thought was very interesting, or at least the piece of our interview, you had the opportunity to go on tour with Singer Santa Gold, and you decided to go the corporate route. And one thing that my one of my friends thought was interesting is like, oh, okay, the corporate route, navigating that in so many different layers for you, right? As a woman, as a Black woman,
double whammy.
And yeah, right. And so wanted to kind of get some background on like what has it been like, you know, from then to now navigating this, and why did you decide to go the corporate route versus going on tour like the shiny suit things?
You know, it's funny. It all came down to money. It all came down to money and security. I was like fresh out of college, and I was just like, all right, mom, like which one of these two things like should I do? And it just made the most sense to go the corporate route, and I don't regret it at all because like I came to New York with zero friends. Like I did not know anybody, and now like spending nearly 10 years there, networking, working at different companies, meeting so many different people, my network has gotten so strong. So I'm glad that I took the corporate route. I can't say that, you know, had I been a personal assistant to an artist that it would have ended up the same way. I just don't think it would have. And I ended up in LA, all places too. So me picking the route I did landed me where I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely. What were some of the lessons that you learned along the way?
I got so many. You're definitely as strong as your network. So just putting yourself outside of your comfort zone, making sure that you're networking with different people, you're meeting different people, being open, not always aiming for those people that are executive level, like networking and people that are in your peer group. A lot of the people that are my friends now that are doing amazing things, that are at so many other different companies, are people who started out as assistants and coordinators, literally just like me. And we're all still friends like to this day, and we all still help each other out and put each other on. So it's just super, super important to network within your peer group, above you, below you, and just be open to that. I would also say, like, do not like distort your own reality. Like imposter syndrome is a bitch, and it will leap out and snatch your soul. Like imposter syndrome is literally the worst thing.
Oh my gosh.
Like the majority of my career, and just like being confident and making sure I'm always just checking in with myself, checking in with your people too, because if you forget who you are in that moment, your people will like remind you. They'll always remind you. So just being like stern about that, like not letting imposter syndrome sabotage you or let you not apply yourself fully, or not even, you know, sometimes we work in spaces where people aren't always that supportive. So just making sure that you don't let their commentary be deflected onto you. Like you gotta just in one ear out the other. Like you gotta be confident in who you are. And I would say the last thing I learned was just how to set boundaries. You know, it's like we go into so many different situations, especially as, you know, a Black woman in corporate America. It's like, okay, like I gotta make sure I'm not too aggressive, or make sure I'm not this or that, because you just don't know what kind of reaction you're gonna get. So just really kind of setting boundaries with yourself and with people, and be firm and assertive in who you are, like not letting anybody make you think that you gotta act a certain way to be in the same space, to share that same space with them. So like that's just definitely been something that I had to learn the hard way. And now, you know, I feel like I got a grasp of it, and it's okay. Like if I want to keep my work and life separate, that's okay. Nobody's gonna force me to feel like I gotta like kiki with you and be your friend to be in this room. Like I'm in this room because I'm qualified and I deserve to be here. So I'm not about to, you know, shoot shit with you for the sake of that.
I need you sitting right here when I'm moving around in the spaces that I'm in, because I literally have been struggling with imposter syndrome. So, for instance, I've been doing a lot of voiceover work now and getting a lot of auditions. And part of me sometimes questions like, I don't know if I belong here. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know. And because I'm not working like how I used to work, Avantia, like I literally am like, yes, everyone sees this rollout and I'm doing all these things, but when the lights are off and the makeup is off, it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't know what's next. And I've been struggling with setting boundaries personally and professionally. And that kind of really spoke to me because that's where I'm at right now.
I would just say, like, just be open. Like, God is going to put you where you need to be.
Mm.
I know for me, anytime I'm like, well, God, I don't want to be here. I want to go in this direction. I want to do this. He's always like, no, nope, you can't have that job. No, you can't have this opportunity. And 9 times out of 10, well, 10 times out of 10, it's always been the best decision for me. So just don't worry about like what's next. Like focus on where you're at now, perfecting your craft, continuing to network. Like, if you're doing voice work, we need more Black people doing voice work. Period.
Can I tell you how real that is? I was on Twitter. It's so funny you said that. I was on Twitter and this woman I follow, she goes by the name, I think, April Rain. They were talking about how like Calm, the app, needs more Black people. And I literally just jumped in the thread. I was just like, hi, Calm. I'm a Black woman that's voiceover. Girl, like that thread picked up. People started retweeting it. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's funny that you said that.
Like, you don't say anything. Nobody is going to know that you have this other skill set to tap into. And you literally wear so many hats. Like, literally, if somebody were like, what does Georgette do? I'd be like, well, what doesn't she do? Like,
I'm like, I don't know. It's so bad.
For a while.
It's so bad.
Like, literally, you
it's
are wearing many hats.
It's true. And I'm trying to narrow it down. I'm getting there, though. But I thank you. Ooh, thank you for that soul message. You know, with COVID-19, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have shifted. How do you see the culture and your industry changing in the times of Rona?
Well, I feel like it's twofold. So a lot of music supervisors were working remotely anyway, because a lot of them are doing freelance work. Some people are at studios or at different companies and things like that. But most of the time, music supervisors are already remote. So that part of it didn't change. But I would say just the volume for sure has changed because productions have slowed down and they paused. I do think last like month or so things started to pick up, but I would say that it's getting scary because it's like, okay, limited projects in motion and everybody's like going after the same projects and things like that, so the competition can get tough. But I think, you know, once we start seeing more productions open up and they start setting certain you know, guidelines and things like that to manage COVID, I think, you know, we'll get out of this little like slow rut of projects coming in.
Yeah. It was funny because I was watching somebody else's video and they were talking about transitioning into that, but like the fact of you know, being Black in this industry, I think it's also part of the shift, right? Because now there's a lot more attention being more paid to us, and like, oh, we need representation, we need diversity. And so I know the one thing that we had spoken about, because this guy also, I don't know him personally, but he works at Fox as an entertainment reporter. You transition into to Fox Sports as a really conservative network, and when people think Fox, they don't think Black people. But with you saying like, you know, you're qualified, you're in the room, what has it been like working at Fox, and are you still seeing the same opportunities? Is that, you know, do you feel is there any type of like nervousness of like, if something was to happen, will they eliminate me first because I'm the only Black girl or all that other stuff? Like, do you think about any of that stuff?
It hasn't for me. Luckily for my role, I'm very, very much needed, and what I do is very, very specific, so I haven't had that worry. But I will say, just like overall in the industry, and not as it pertains to sports, more so like music supervision and film and television, what I would like to see is more Black people behind the camera. I think it's great that we're having diversity on screen. We're having different, you know, EPs come in. We're having all that, like people coming in the writer's room and everything like that. But that needs to trickle down everywhere, to the music supervisors, to the PAs, to craft services, like whatever it is. It really needs to like change. I don't want it to be performative, like, oh, we're just filling our quota and, you know, we hired that Black girl, so now we got diversity. And it's like, but are you listening to her? Like, are you, taking her notes and her feedback? Like, what are you doing to, really, really be allies? If you're an ally, you say you're an ally, then, you know, put your money where your mouth is, put the work where your mouth is. Like, don't just be like, okay, we hired a bunch of Black people and now everything's cool. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. Have you been seeing a lot of performative stuff in your industry? And because I know
Not
music supervision is part of the
Yeah,
music industry.
it's very niche. It's
Yeah.
very niche. I personally haven't seen anything, especially like I said, because you know things are slow right now with productions and everything like
Yeah.
that. But overall, like moving forward, I just think that like in the Black music supervision community, there are so many of us with so many different experiences and so many different levels of expertise. And I would just like to see us get hired to tell our stories. You know, there's so much content that is coming out. We need to be hired to tell our stories. We also need to not be pigeonholed to be like, okay, I'm working on a Black show. I'm going to hire a Black music supervisor. Like in the same way you have all these different people coming together to do things outside of Black content as well, like shows like The Order and Lovecraft Country and things like that, and just all these different projects that you sometimes wouldn't even think, you know, to diversify. Like they need to do something about that. Like Black people can score a show that's similar to The Office or, you know, whatever. Like we don't have to be pigeonholed into our own stories, but still allow us to tell our own stories too, in all aspects, not just the writer's room, the directors and the actors, everywhere. Let that trickle down.
Right. I know for me along my journey, I've had mentors and I still pick them up along the way, you know. Did you have any mentors? And if so, what's the best advice that they gave you?
I have a lot of mentors. But you know, it's so funny. I'm thinking about that question. I would say this is not my mentor, but it's just something that always stuck with me. I was reading Devon Franklin's book, The Hollywood Commandments. And one thing he always says is to just watch how you treat people, how to be kind to people. And I always be like, oh, like, let me be nice to this person because they can do something for me. Like, just approach people always with kindness, because you never know where someone's going to end up. You never know 5 years from now what company they're going to be running or what they're going to be doing. So for me, that's actually been something I've done my whole career. Like I said, I've been an assistant, I've been a coordinator, I've been an intern, and I treat anybody that works under me with respect. I'm always willing to help people. I've sat down with like different producers and artists who may not understand music supervision and just giving them like a quick tutorial and explain to them like what they can do. And it's like, it is not going to hurt me to help them. I don't know what they're going to do later and what's going to become of that. So it's just like, in general, just being kind to people. And I'm very firm believer of like, as quickly as God has blessed you, he can take that away. So what's the point of having a blessing if you're not blessing other people?
Yeah. I love that energy. I love that energy. Everyone wants to see what they want to see as long as it relates to someone's journey. So like you could pluck anybody out that everyone knows that's famous and like, oh my gosh, like Rihanna's this and Drake did this, but people don't see the sacrifices that has happened or what they had to let go of or who they had to become. What are some of the sacrifices that you've had to make along the way? That not necessarily that you regret, but that just kind of sharpened your iron.
Well, I made a lot. I'm gonna talk about that. I would say one of the biggest ones is like I've definitely had to make pay cuts, like take pay cuts that I didn't want to take because of the circumstances that I was in. I definitely sacrificed sleep, my pride, time with my family. Like I'm originally from the East Coast. I'm all the way in LA. I don't see my family frequently. I'm always super, super focused on work. But I will say within my sacrifices, I've definitely learned how to manage. So making sure that I have more work-life balance, making sure I hold firm on my worth. Because, you know, at the end of the day, people always tell you, know your work, especially when it comes to negotiating salaries and things like that and getting new opportunities. But they don't tell you how many no's you're going to get along the way for no. So it's being comfortable not accepting something that is below what you feel like you deserve to be paid and not having any remorse about it, because you know the opportunity that is right for you that's going to pay you what you're supposed to be paid is going to come. So having confidence in that.
I feel like this is a lesson that I needed. I'm like, golly, I'm about to going off right now. How are you taking care of yourself during these times, man? my last interview, I was just like, you think you're good and then you find like you're not good, right? Like I've been going in and out and having my moments. And so how have you been taking care of yourself?
My quarantine has been like super basic. I have not left LA. So I've just been in LA this entire time in my apartment, outside, that's it. But running really helps me. That helps me manage anxiety, racing thoughts, depression, all of it. So like I try to do that as much as I can when I'm feeling well enough to do it. I'm reading more, like
Yeah.
reading educational things, and also reading like fictional things too, because you gotta have some imagination, some good spirit while you're in this craziness right now.
Yes.
Get a break from reality, and then just like silly stuff like YouTube tutorials. I love to cook. I've invested in entirely too many cooking appliances that I didn't know I need. Like all of a sudden I got an egg cooker, a crock pot, an air fryer, a cold brew pitcher, which I didn't even know that they even made those. Like I literally have the stuff that I would have deemed like useless prior to quarantine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, clearly that I could just make my own iced coffee, and now I'm like even today I was looking for a milk frother. Like what am I doing? So it's like little stuff like that brings me joy, and just being consistent with my friends and talk to my friends as much as possible, like every day pretty much, has helped me a lot. Just manage everything, and just therapy is just literally the best thing you can do for yourself, even if you're doing well. Get a therapist.
Yeah. No, somebody was just talking to me about that. I told them, I was like, like I had been quiet for a minute, like as far as like not like talking to this person or calling them as often as I used to. And I was just like, I wasn't doing well. I had this looming energy where I just did not want to, transfer that energy to anybody else. And I was just like, I just did not know what to do with it, Avantia. And I was just like, I just have to sit.
You're like, I don't want to project my mood onto you. So if someone's doing good or doing well, it's like you feel like you have to hide your feelings, and you have to hide that part of yourself. But transparency is key, because you can let someone know, like, hey, thanks for checking on me. I'm not in a good space right now. I don't know if you have the capacity for this right now. If you do, let's talk. If you don't, it's cool.
Oh, that's good.
Be comfortable telling people that, because I had to learn that in quarantine, because I would just not tell people nothing. But the last few months, I was like, okay, girl, you gotta start letting people know what's going on. You can't have to think everything's all like sunshine and rainbows when it's not.
Yeah, that's good. Like I don't know if like I'm not doing well, but I don't know if you have the capacity. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna have to use that, because I didn't have it. I did not have it. I just needed to sit. And the one thing that I realized that was happening for me was like I just felt disconnected, and I didn't realize how disconnected I was from my body, like from years prior. And because like you have nothing else to do but just like sit still, I'm just like, oh, I don't feel my feelings, and I actually have to sit and be okay with what's happening and where it's happening in my body. And that's what I'm catching up to now.
Yeah, I would say that's been my lesson too in quarantine, because I definitely wasn't in tune with my body until quarantine. I had realized, I was like, you are not sleeping enough. Like that's a basic thing, but probably before quarantine, I was getting like 5-6 hours worth of sleep, and then I was out of my apartment for the rest of the day. And then come home, maybe eat something, maybe not, shower, get ready, and do it all over again, and just constantly do that back to back to back. And my body just started like being like, girl, what are we doing? Like, I'm tired. I can't do this no more. So now I'm just like, if I ain't got the energy to do something, I'm listening to my body. That's it. Like, I'm gonna force it.
Yeah. No, I'm actually getting to the place of like, on top of like advocating for myself and speaking up when something doesn't feel right or I don't want to do something, literally having to listen to my body more. Because I remember I was telling somebody, I was like, oh, my last interview, I was like, when quarantine first hit and I came to my mom's house, I slept for 3 weeks before I got like I didn't realize how like after like 3 weeks of sleep, Avantia may have been the sleep
was like
I didn't catch over
not
3 years. Yes, it was wild. It was so wild. Okay, last question. Yeah, right. Last question. What is your penultimate goal or goals?
I would still say it's still the same. Like, I definitely still want to work in music, but definitely kind of push that to the side a little bit and focus on like film and TV development. Like, I'm obsessed with storytelling. Anybody who knows me knows, don't call me during my stories. And I'm very much like, I want to dissect everything. I want to research the writers that were in the room and what they were thinking. So like stuff like that, I'm super, super passionate about. So I definitely think like that's the next step for me, career wise and life wise. Husband, kids, goodbye. Like that's it. Like super simple. I want to live the most basic, boring life.
Right.
I do not want to be crazy.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so with LA, like, are you going to ever have, like, do you have time when things feel safe to go home and visit your family? Because you said you haven't seen them that much.
Yeah, I definitely will be seeing my family very, very soon. I'm super excited. Like,
Yeah,
super
that's
excited.
awesome.
Get
Yeah.
some East Coast weather and then come back before it starts snowing because I don't got time.
Honey, it's already getting a little nippy skip on the East Coast.
And I'm saying,
So
like, in the midst of like dealing with earthquakes and wildfires.
wildfires.
Insane.
Girl, I don't know what's going on in California. Oh my gosh. Please be safe out there, man. Please be safe. And then how can people find you and, you know, what you do and where you're at and just to kind of even learn more about music supervision?
Yeah, I'm always taking music submissions. So you can hit me at music@avantiabatista.com. So I'm always taking submissions. Just make sure you have a Dropbox link, some kind of link, WeTransfer, a Spotify streaming link, and just a little bit of information about yourself. Short, sweet, and to the point, because I get a lot of them. I get a lot of music submissions. So.
Oh, I love that. Okay, wait, one more question that came to mind. Okay, so working on reality show versus sports, like, is it a big difference, or is like kind of still like the same energy with the music that you have to source?
Love and hip hop is very different than making promos for the NFL.
True.
True. Yeah, it's just different. You know, TV shows, you have more time to really build out a song and you're using it for like a minute or two. Promos is very like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, that's all you got, grab my attention.
Hit it.
It's similar in terms of like how you pick music, but it's different in terms of like what your actual goal is. You know, you're trying to tell and enhance the story of a show. Promos, you're trying to get somebody's attention and sell something. So
yeah, you know, it's so crazy. There's one song I'm obsessed with that I literally heard in an Instagram ad. I didn't buy nothing from these people, but I was just like, what song is this? And it changed my world. So I hear you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Because it's so funny, like, you know, people have an idea of what music supervisors do, but then you really don't. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh, like, it must be cool, but I know there's probably like a method to the madness.
Yeah, there surely is. Everybody has like their own ways of doing it. Like, you talk to any music supervisor, nobody has a linear path of how they got the job or of how they even did it. So we all do it completely differently.
I love it. I love it. I am wishing you the best with everything, Avantia. This will not be the last time.
I'm so happy to hear about your voice work. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Thank you so much. And we've said this before in the interview, our paths will cross so we can work together.
They always do. They always do. So I know I'll see you soon. I know I will.
I love it. Please be safe out there.
Stay tuned. Bye.
All right, bye.